So yeah, good morning everyone. So in this session we are going to discuss what is request response cycle, right? And what are the different request methods, and what is request structure, what is response structure, right? So let me present this. Let me go to the presentation. Let me close this. This is not required. So let me present this. So request. First let us understand what is a request and what is response. I hope everyone knows what is request and response. Shravanti, what is request?
What you send from the browser to the server is called the
Right.
request.
Right. So what you send from the request is something which you send from browser to server, and response is something which we receive from the server. Right. So once you send a request in the browser, say for example you typed gmail.com or irctc.co.in, right? So what happens behind the scenes? Right. There are 5 steps involved in this. From the moment you send the response till the moment you receive the from the moment you send the request till the moment you receive the response, there will be something happening behind the browser. So the first one is local processing. Local processing means the browser will extract the protocol, host, port number, resource path, and query strings. So it will break the request into these 5 things: protocol, host, port number, resource path, and query string. Let me explain you that with an example. Okay, so we'll send a request to our we'll send a request to our our web2 server, right? So everyone have sample application installed, right? So and this is the URL, right? Local host, right? This is our URL. So I changed the port number to 1081. On your machine it will be 1080. So I'm sending a request to the server like this, right? I sent a request and received some response. So in between, right, from the moment I send the request to I receive response, these all happens behind the scenes, right? So first your browser extracts, breaks that request into protocol, host, port number, optional, which is optional, and resource path and query string. Now if you see this, this is the request that I have sent, right? And observe here I have given color coding just for your understanding. Protocol I gave in brown color, right? So HTTP is the protocol here, right? That's why I gave both of them in brown color. And host name is nothing but your server name, right? Now my server name is localhost, and port number I gave in blue color corresponding to this. In this example 1080 is the port number, right? And is it clear so far?
Yes.
And resource path, I gave same color. So this is resource path. Let us understand what is meant by resource path, right? So when you send a request for when you access this page, right, when you send a request like this, you are asking server to for to get a page called index.htm, which is there in this webtools folder, right? So we are mentioning path of the resource. What is the resource here? Index.htm is the resource that we are asking. We are sending a request to the server, and that index.htm is there in a folder called webtools. So let me show you that. Okay, let me go to the webtools folder, right? And in the webtools folder you have htdocs, a folder called htdocs. Htdocs for HTML documents. So in that you have folder, again a folder called webtools. In that you have this index.htm, right? So you are saying that there is a folder called webtools. In that there is a file called index.htm. Dear server, please get that page for me by sending this request. Is it clear so far? And this
Yes.
is the resource path. This is the path where my my HTML page is there, or HTML page is there. HTML and HTML both are same, guys. Okay, so you are asking, you are sending a request for this resource which is there in webtools folder. And this webtools, this application is there in local server and running at port number 1080. That's what your request means. Is it clear?
Kishore, just one thing, this folder name, right? Web tools. I mean, if you go to that folder, the name like is it uppercase? I guess the web
And
W.
that's when it will convert it. It will convert automatically.
Okay.
Okay, so suppose you want this header.html. So what you can do, you can let me send a request for header.html instead of index.html. I'll send a request for header.html, right? Now you got only header, right? Isn't it? Header, which is in blue color. You got only header. This is the header part only, guys, right? And suppose what are the other requests, other resources here? Home.html. So let me send a request to home.html. This is your home.html, right? And now let me show the complete page. Okay, complete page is index.html, right? So now you understood, right? So this page is made up of 3 frames, isn't it? Let me draw that. Let me show that. See, this is header, this blue color background and all. This is header.html, and this is this is home.html, right? Home.html, and this part is nav.pl. This is another frame, right? Each part in a HTML page is called as a frame, and in this page it has 3 frames. Header.html, this page is made up of 3 parts, to put it in a layman language, right? So header.html is one part, and this is home.html, right? And this is nav.pl, right? But when I'm sending, I have sent a request, to only index.html, right? Isn't it? I sent a request to index.html. Here I have
Right.
some page called index.html. But but how the other frames are called is, if you want to understand that, open in Notepad, or Notepad++, any editor. If you see this is index.html code, right? So what you see, there are simple, say 8-9 lines of HTML code here. That's it, right? And now these are called as tags. HTML tag. This is a tag. This is head tag. This is title tag. TAG tag, right? So, and observe here, title. This is nothing but your page title, right? Page, what is the page title? Web tours, right? And where do we see in the browser? Here it is. This is called as page title, guys. Okay. And you see the title is the same as here, right? Whatever you specify in the in the HTML page, you see the title over there. Suppose if I change this, okay, let me change this. I'm giving that as JMeter, July 2021 batch, right? I'm just changing the page title. Okay, save it and refresh the request, refresh the browser. Now observe here. Previously it was by default, it is web tools. Now I am refreshing the page. Now see here, you got the let me close this, then you can clearly see. Now you see here, right? The page title changed here, right? All right. Now we can see the page title has changed, right?
Yes.
Guys, right? Yeah, you can try on your machine also. Okay. Now, so now let's move forward. So there are 2 frames here. So here you can see there are 2 frames in this index.html. So index.html, this page is sending a call to, this is calling to header.html and welcome.pl, right? This is how they are getting called. Index.html is calling header.html. Now let's see the code of header.html, right? So if you see the header.html file, right, guys, no one will ask this. I'm just giving for your understanding. Okay, so this is not part of performance testing, but I just want to explain you these are all basics actually, HTML basics actually, right? So this header.html is making a call to HP logo to see there is one image here, HP logo.png and webtours.png, right? These are all image formats, right? JPG, PNG, GIF, GIF. These are all different image formats, isn't it? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So this header.html is calling, if you see the code of this header.html, you see BG color is equal to, there is some color code, right? So BG color stands for background color, right? And this color code corresponds to that blue color. That's why you are seeing that background color as blue, right? This is nothing but your color code. This is nothing but color code for dark blue, right? If you change the color code here, color will get updated, right? BG for background color, right? And now this header.html is calling 2 files. What are they? In images folder, see, observe here, images slash hp logo.png, and src means source. Src means source. So observe this, understand this tag. Image source is equal to hp logo.png, height 45, width 69, alignment is abs middle, maybe absolute middle, right? No, we are not bothered, we are not learning html, that's fine, right? And like image source is equal to images webtools.png. Now if you see here, there is in webtools there is a folder again called images, and in that images folder you have this. Where is our webtools.png? This is your webtools.png, and one more hp logo, right? This is hp logo.png. So in that way your page gets rendered, right? Index.html is calling header.html, and header.html is calling this back, that is making this background color as blue as well as two images, right? So that is how your your request is your request is made up of, and you are getting the response. Is it clear now?
Sure, one small doubt here. See, while we are sending request, how do we know that this is the port number which we are entering?
Okay, generally, like for real-time applications, you will not have port numbers. As this is a sample application, and I want to explain port number also. What is port number? I put this, but generally in real-time applications, you need not bother about the port number. That will be automatically taken care of.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So because
Okay,
your real-time applications, you'll have a simple URL like google.com or gmail.com, or some, instead of this server name and port number, you will have the complete some ircdc.co.in or google.com or gmail.com, right?
Okay.
Now, so now you understood, right? So there are different things in a HTML page. You have some images, you have some background color, you have some frames, right? And now if you want to confirm that, right? So see here, right click here, index.html, right click here, and you see view page source and view frame source. There are two options. Page source means it will show you for index.html. Okay, let me show you that. See, page source means it is showing index.html, right? And if you click here and click frame source, what will you get? See, I am right clicking here, frame, and using frame source. Means this is one frame. What is this frame called? I mentioned just now. What is this frame called? Home.html, right?
Home, sir.
Yeah. So let me show you that. Okay, let me clear this. And if you select frame source, right, you'll see home.html code. This is the code of HTML code of this home.html, right? As I right clicked here, and it is showing this part, this frame source, and I selected view frame source. Suppose if you right click here and use view frame source, right, it will show you nav.pl. See here, this frame is called as nav.pl. Nav for navigation, right? So if you want to navigate through the application, right, we log in here, and let me show you. So we log in here, and again, this is used for navigation, right? That's why they named this part as nav.pl. Is it clear? Again, if you right click here and view frame page source, you'll get a different thing, index.html code. It is showing index.html code, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And if you right click here and frame source, let us see. This is login.pl code, right? This part is made up of login.pl, this one, this frame, right? Now, yeah. So when you send a request, right, this is how it will go to the server, as this, and server will, translate that to the corresponding frames, all the frames, and it will send the response. So let me go back to the slide now. Right? And this is how it breaks the request, right? It reads like this. First, it will see what is the protocol, what is the server name, what is the port number, and what is the resource path. And there is no query string here. In this example, there is no query string. I'll explain it later. What is this query string, right? Now, once your browser extracts these values, right, it will resolve the IP of the server. It will resolve the IP of the server. Means every server will have some IP address. Every machine in the internet which is connected to internet will have something called IP address, right? IP for internet protocol. IP stands for internet protocol. every machine connected to the internet. So you are all connected to the internet, right? So you'll have some IP address, right? Let me show you, how to check IP address of this machine. Okay, so you type cmd, okay, and no, this is actually not the, this is internal IP address. This gives you internal IP address. Suppose you want to see what is your IP address, right? Type, what is my IP, what is my ip.com, right? Just type in the browser what is my ip.com. So this is your IP address. Okay, 103.140.231.38. This is called as public IP, right? Can you note this website, what is my ip.com? Or else, check on your machine, you'll have some different IP address. And also see, this is showing like my IP location is Hyderabad TNG IN, sorry, TG for Telangana, IN for India. So it is showing the city name, state name, and country code. This should be state code, and this is country code, right? And this is my ISP. ISP means, what is ISP?
Internet service provider.
Internet service provider. So I am using Zoom Fiber Solutions. So if you are using AP FiberNet, it will show you here AP FiberNet. Or if you are using Airtel, it will show you Airtel, or whatever it is, right? If you are using Geo, it will show you your ISP name as Geo. Is it clear, guys? So this is the, like, this is how you can see your public IP. So we'll discuss, there is something called private IP. We'll discuss, let me show you that also, as we got the context, right? So if you want to see the private IP, right, you type here IP config, right? And this is your private IP. So this is public IP 103.140, and this is your private IP address 192.168.0.134, right? 0 should be read as O. Okay, right? So in software, like in IT, like we call, this 0 is pronounced as read as O, right? So this is your private IP 192.168.0.134. This is your private IP. Now, what is the purpose of this private IP, and why should we have, why there is no public IP address directly? Why do we have this, private IP, right? So let me give, for example, if in my internet, for my, internet connection, I have, two laptops. I have two laptops, one phone, and all this. Suppose if I am connected to that, if I connect my laptops to that, my internet connection, Wi-Fi, right? So to identify each of the device, right, there will be this public private IP, right? So this laptop IP address is 134, private IP is 134. I have another laptop, that will have a different IP address, right? You got it?
Yes, sir.
Right. So in the same way, if you go to an internet center, suppose there are 5 machines or 10 machines there, 10 machines. Each machine will have a different IP address, private IP, right? The reason is, to uniquely identify each machine, right? The purpose of this is to uniquely identify each machine, isn't it? See, this is something like,
Yes.
public IP is something like your, your house number or plot number, right? And this private IP is something like your flat number, apartment number. Okay. See, if in a building there are 10 apartments, each apartment, each flat will have a different number, right? Flat numbers, right? In the same way, private IP is something similar to that. So each device connected to this Wi-Fi, it will have a different, IP address. Till here, it will be same, guys, by the way. So till this here, it will be same. Only this number changes within my network. Within my network, only this number changes. You got it?
Yes, sir.
And IPv4 address, right? Oh, let's not go into those. Right now, we have IPv6 also, right? We have IPv6 also. Let's not go into those details, but but I want to explain. Everyone should know this: what is private IP, what is public IP, and how to see private IP, how to see public IP address, right? How to see public IP? Type, when you open a browser and type what is my IP.com, right? Or else I think there is a command to check here also. Let me try. I don't remember actually. ipconfig/all. I think it will show you prior public IP also. I think. Let me check that. Anyone have an idea about that? how to see the public IP. Okay, leave it. Okay, not required. Anyways, if you want to see the public IP, you can use a browser and check that. Right? So every machine, every computer which is connected to internet, you know, it will have some public IP as well as private IP. Is it clear so far?
Private IP. Yes, sir.
Right. Now let's go.
Yes.
Now, once you send a request to the server, right? So what it will do is it will try to resolve the IP address of the server. So you used, you know, local host here, right? But it should know what is the IP address, right? You got it. So suppose you type, you know, gmail.com. Suppose you type gmail.com in your browser, right? So let me use, you know, incognito browser, incognito window. You do you know difference between a normal browser and in private browser?
Yeah, I mean, here also we can see incognito, the history, the form data, passwords are not
Yeah,
saved.
yeah. So I'll explain
So,
this. You know, there is a difference between your normal browser and, you know, this private browser. This is called as incognito window. This is called as private browser. And, you know, background color will be black by default. The background color will be, you know, the whole you know, background color will be in black, right? Suppose
Dark
that
mode.
is, see, yeah. So suppose you type gmail.com, right? So in the browser, so what it will do is first it will see the server name and, you know, and all this. Then it will try to get the IP address of that, you know, Gmail, right? So every server will have some IP address, as we discussed just now. Every machine connected to the network will have some IP address, right? If you want to see what is the IP address of Gmail, right, go to command prompt and, you know, use this command ping gmail.com, right? And this is the IP address of Gmail, 142.250.159.229. This is the IP address, right? So in the same way, if you want to see facebook.com, right, what is the IP address of facebook.com? So this is the IP address of facebook.com. Okay, so it will try to get what is the IP address of that, you know, that you know, that URL, or that particular server that you are trying to access, right? That is called as resolving IP of the server, right? So for resolving the IP address, right, first it will look into its own cache of recently requested URLs. Means its own cache means browser cache. So whenever you access any page in the browser, so, you know, it will save that, you know, in the browser cache. There will be something called browser cache, and it will save that page in the browser cache, right? So if you previously accessed that page, right, it will have the IP address details also in the browser cache. So first it will try to look the, you know, what is the IP address of that, you know, request, that application that you are trying to access, right? If it is not found in the browser cache, it will look into the operating system cache. OS cache means operating system cache, right? Guys, operating system cache. So, you know, operating system cache means, you know, in your machine also there will be some temp folder, right? You know that, you know, like if you type %temp%, right, you will have all the temporary files, whatever you accessed, you know, from the on your machine. Suppose if you clear this, right, if you clear this, you can clear this temp file. If you clear this, you know, then it will all your request go to the server, right? In the same way, browser lo kuda, if you clear history, right? See, suppose you go to history and clear history. There is, you know, in Chrome, you know, like here, this is how you can clear the history, right? Clear, go to type history here and, you know, clear browsing data. If you clear data, right, then all your browsing history will be cleared. You may be knowing this option, right? Everyone.
Yes, sir.
So if you clear that, all the cache will be cleared, right? So why it will store in the browser cache is the next time if you access the same page, right, it will be loaded
Yes,
faster.
sir.
It will be loaded from the cache.
Okay.
Any doubt about it? Shall I show that? You want me to show that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me show you something. Okay. I'll open Firefox, right? And, you know, I type the, you know, so I try to access the same URL, HTTP localhost 1080. Actually, this is 1081. I changed it, guys. Sorry for the confusion. So I sent a request to to this server, web2 server, right? So there is, every browser will have something called developer tools, right? Let me launch the developer tools. Okay. more tools, developer tools, right? These are
Web
shortcut.
developer tools.
I use the shortcut, or you can use F12 also, function F12. Let me close this, and I'm using function F12 on my keyboard. This will launch this developer tools. So you should know these developer tools, guys. We will be using in testing, very frequently, whether it is manual testing or automation testing or performance testing. We all use these developer tools. Even developers also use this a lot, right? So every browser will come with something called this developer tool. Now, what is the purpose of this developer tool, right? Suppose if I send the request again, right? See, what does it show? What does it show? It is showing the main request index.htm. Right? It is showing the main request index.htm, and you have header.html, welcome.pl, and hp logo.png. So it is showing all the requests. Okay, it is showing some unnecessary Java. These are not related to the application. Please hold on. I'll open Chrome only. Okay. I'll type the URL here. Right. Sorry. Launch developer tools by using function F12. Can everyone do that, please? Can everyone launch developer tools on your laptop or desktop? Very important, guys. You should we'll be using developer tools a lot. Everyone should be comfortable with developer tools. Is everyone able to see this window?
Yes.
Right. And see, this recording will be turned on by default. By default, this recording will be on. Right now, it is recording the request. Right. So developer tools is recording the request. So how to see that? If you send a new request, right? See here. Whatever happening, see, I have sent a main request index.htm. Now you can see index.htm, it shows index.htm, header.html, welcome.pl. So internally, so these are all called sub requests. So it is recording all those requests and sub requests, right? That's what it is doing here, right? And if you want to see index.htm code, you can see it here. Okay, go to response. See, this is your index.htm code, HTML code of index.htm. In the same way, header.html response, HTML code, right? And welcome.pl, right? You understood, guys?
Yes, Kishore.
Right? So ignore these other things, .js and all, you can ignore this. These are not related to Web Tools application. So please ignore this. Okay. Now, there are, application related requests, will have this Web Tools. Okay. URL Web Tools another. See, observe here. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. This is third request, right? Localhost 1081 CGI bin welcome.pl. This is 3. This is 4. hplogo.png, webtools.png, 5, and 6, 7, and 8. So actually 8 requests will go to the server. The moment you type index.htm, this is your HTTP main HTTP request. So it is your browser is automatically sending or calling 8 requests. Actually, it is sending 8 requests to the server. So how is it called? I explained it here. Isn't it? I have shown you that index.htm code, right? So it will happen like a chain. Okay. Let me show you one more time. So go to your web tools folder, open file location, htdocs, tools, right? It will happen like a chain. So you are sending a request to index.htm, and index.htm is calling header.html and welcome.pl, right? Again, if you see header.html code, it is making 3 calls. It is making 3 requests. What are they? 2 requests. One is hplogo.png, the other one is webtools.png, right? It is making call to these 2 images which are in images folder, right? Here you can see images folder. So in that you have all the images related to this application, right? So total, how many requests are getting filed? So the total of 8 requests is index.htm, header.html, welcome.pl, hplogo.png, webtools.png, and all this. There are a total of 8 requests, right? And these are called as sub requests. This is called as main request, and these are called as sub requests. Is it clear? Yes.
Yes, Krishna.
Is it easy
Can
to
you open
understand
the
or
developer
difficult to
tools?
understand?
Pawan, can you open the developer tools?
Yeah. Yes.
From the starting, I mean, from system tools. I
Okay.
understood this, but the path I forgot.
Okay, let me clear this. So if you want to remove this, right, you have an option to clear this. Click on this clear, right? Now if you send a request, right? So first index.html request went, right? And then it will call header dot. That's what you are asking me?
From the starting, how we have opened this page, like
Okay, this developer
step
tools.
developer.
Function. So you open a browser and like let me open a new browser. Okay. See, I open a new browser, right? And function F12.
Okay.
You need not open any page. You can directly launch the developer tools. Okay.
I
Now
guess
if
Krishna,
you yeah.
we can do right click and inspect as well. That is also open development tools, right?
Yes.
Yes. And observe here by default you will be in network tab. Okay. You have many tabs: elements, console, sources, network, performance, and so on. By default it will take you to network tab. So because in this network tab only you will see all the requests. Okay. And let me explain like what other information does developer tool give. Okay. So observe here, it is showing all the sub requests and it is showing the response code, right? We'll discuss response codes in soon. So this is nothing but your response code. 200 means okay, means this request is processed successfully. If you are able to get some page successfully, you get this response code as 200, right? And it will show you type of document. So this is the HTML document. That's why you see the type as document. And if you see some image, right, you see, like it is showing as, PNG, right? And if it is, like, again, this nav.pl is a Perl document. That's why you see the type as document, right? So it will show you the type of that resource. These are all page resources, guys, these are called page resources or page components, right? Logo is one part of the page. HP logo is one part of the page. Webtools image is part of the page. And all these are part of the different parts of the page, right? And one more thing that you need to understand is size. See here, this is showing you what is the size of this page, right? What is the, suppose for example, webtools.png, right? So what is the size of this? Okay, I'll come to this, and I'll come to this soon. This is understood, right? This column shows you what is the size of each resource, right? For example, nav.pl is there. The size of that resource is, size of the response is 2.3 KB, right? And also it will also, developer tool will also show you how much time it took to load this page, each component, right? For HP logo.png, to get that image from the server, it took 1 millisecond, right? Right. So this shows you basically, this time column will show you like how much time it took to load that component, right? And observe here, there is something called disk cache, right? So actually it is getting, the first time you send the request, right, it has stored that image on the disk, somewhere on the disk, and it loaded from the cache. Next time you send it, right, it loaded from the cache, right? And I also here, it is showing as memory cache. So this is nothing but your browser cache and disk cache. Okay. But for some resources it is showing size,
Kishore, yeah.
right? So welcome.pl
Kishore,
and yeah.
See, from developer tools, can we check the response time of whole page? Like how much time the page got loaded?
Yes. So here you can see that. So at the bottom, you can see like a 6.8 KB transferred, 958 KB resources. You see some metrics over here, right? So this is your total load time.
Yes.
Load, 712 milliseconds.
Of the total page.
Of the total page, yes.
Okay. Understood.
Okay. Right. And
Okay.
so what all information it gives? It will give you what are all the sub requests of that main request, and what is the response code of each request, what type of resource is that, and initiator means HP logo.png is called by header.html, right? That's why it is showing initiator as header.html. Is it understood or no? See, HP logo.png, from where is it called? HP logo.png is called from header.html, right? That's why you see this as, initiator as header.html. One more image is called from header.html. What is that? Webtours.png, this one. So if you see this also, the initiator for this image is header.html, right?
Yes.
And in the same way, see, welcome.pl is called from index.html only, right? That's why, see, let me show you index.html code. So who initiated, who called this, welcome.pl? It is called from index.html, right? That's why you see the initiator for this as index.html, right? And this is the size of this response, right? 1.6 KB. And it took 395 milliseconds to load this welcome.pl. In the same way, nav.pl took 127 milliseconds, right? So if you sum up all this, you'll get approximately this, the total response time of the page, right? There will be some, understand one thing here. So it will take some time to get the resources and then to load the page for you. Browser will take some time, right? That is called as DOM content loaded, right? To load the page for you, to load all the components, it took the 160 milliseconds. That is called as DOM content loaded time, right? DOM stands for document object model. Not, if someone is interested, you can note it down if you are taking running notes. DOM stands for document object model. Okay, those are all HTML basics, guys. We are not going in depth into those, but basically what you need to understand is developer tools will show you what all the sub requests and what is the response code of each request, what type of resource is that, and who initiated that call, and what is the size of this, what is the size of each resource, right? It will give all these details. See, these are all the sub requests. See, these are all sub requests. And these are all response codes of each request. I'll explain what is response code and what type of resource is that, and who initiated that request, what is the size of each request, right? And how much time each resource took, each component took, right? Use all these details in the network tab, right? There are few more tabs that we use. We use the console tab also, but when we discuss that, I will explain. Where do we use console tab? But generally, this tab is important for us as a test engineer. This is important. Okay, performance test engineer, or even manual testers also. Developer tools is important for everyone. Who developer, whether it is be it developer or a software tester, software test engineer. So you need to understand these developer tools. Okay, and one more thing. Observe here by
Kishore,
default
here
all. Please let me complete.
hello.
I'll come to your questions.
Okay.
Right? So by default, all will be selected. Suppose you want to see only images. What are images are there in the in this page? So you can click on the image and it will show you only images, right? And suppose you want to see only HTML documents. Click on that doc, right? So these are filters. These are called filters. You are seeing only HTML files. See here, because I selected document. HTML files, and of course there is PL file, Perl file, PL for Perl. Basically, this WebTools application is developed in Strawberry Perl. Okay. Not only this one, let me show you a few more things. Suppose if you want to see JavaScript files, of course, this application doesn't have any JavaScript files. But if sorry, I don't know what are these JavaScript files actually. So RUX IT agent JS. No, these are not relevant. Okay, leave it. Not required. Not really required. But if you want to see only particular type of files, you can use this filter option. Okay. By default, it will be all. So that's why you see all the resources. Now I am clearing this. Let us see some other website if this is working. There is some other website called advantageonlineshopping.com. This also we are going to use for scripting. Okay, but sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, still not work. Oh yeah, it's loading. Sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't work whole last week. Okay, so this is another website, online website that we are going to use for scripting. Now see here, there are a lot of images, see there are total 42 requests. I have sent only one request, advantageonlineshopping.com, but a total of 42 requests were sent to the server, right? Here you can see the total request is 42 requests, 1 MB transferred and 3 MB resources, and finish time, load time, right? So it took some, maybe, I think this is the total response time, guys, sorry. So this should be the total response time, because loading time it is showing as 1.46, right? So this is the total page response time. I think by mistake I told this one, right? And this is the DOM content loading time, 1.46 seconds, and this is finish time is approximately 8 seconds. This is the total page response time. Okay, and out of these 8 seconds, you can see, like, how much time each component is taking here. See here, banner 2.jpg, this image took 1.42 seconds, right? And 929, this took 929 milliseconds. So it will show you like how much time each resource is taking, right? And what is the size of each resource also. You guys able to follow?
Yes, teacher.
Right? So it took 8 seconds, right? Next time if you load the page, right, like it may load faster. I'm refreshing the page, it will load faster. How much time it took now? 3.8, almost 4 seconds only now. Previously it was 8 seconds, now it is loaded in 4 seconds only, right? Because see here, observe here, it loaded these few resources from the cache. See here, memory cache, served from memory cache, right? This is served from disk cache. This main.js, this is from disk cache, and also by default all is checked, selected. Suppose you want to see only JavaScript files, click on this JS. So there are 3 JavaScript files on this page, right? If you want to see CSS files, select filter CSS. If you want to see documents, yes, click on that document, right? Right? So we'll discuss other tabs, guys. Okay, performance tab and console tab, and there is one more called Lighthouse tab. So this is also another important one for performance testing units, right? This Lighthouse tab. So if you go to Lighthouse tab and click on generate report, right? So it will show you the client side performance. So I'll explain that later. Once the scripting executions are completed, I'll explain what is the purpose of this Lighthouse and all. See, basically it will show you like how is the page performance, right? So it will give you score. See here, it is giving score for this page. It is giving 49 out of 100, right? And it will also give you like how to improve the performance. Also, it will suggest you. Okay, so we'll not go into that now. So we'll discuss that later. But for now, this network tab is important, where you can see all these details. Okay, so if this page is made up of total 40 requests, 40 requests, or 40 components, right? That's what you are seeing here, right? Okay, guys, is it difficult to follow?
No, teacher.
Is it understandable for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right? Now you understood what is this cache and all, right? Browser cache, OS cache, and root. Okay, so own cache means browser cache, means whatever browser you are using, it will be stored in the browser cache. And this is operating system cache, and this is router cache. Suppose if you are connected to a router, right, Wi-Fi router, so it will check in that router cache. And then DNS cache. DNS stands for domain name system. Can you note it down? Domain name system or domain. One second, let me confirm. DNS full form. Okay, domain naming system or domain name system. Can you note it down, like if you are taking running notes? So let me explain what does this DNS system contain. DNS is another server. So it contains, suppose you type gmail.com. So it will contain some mapping like this. Means mapping in the sense, let me close this. So suppose you type gmail.com. Okay, so it will contain, this server contains, the DNS server will contain the IP address of that. Okay, so what is the IP address? Okay. So it will contain domain name system contains the server name and IP address of all, of all the servers, of all the applications, right? Okay. So suppose you type, redbus.in, it will have a different IP address. So it will have these mappings. So it will give you domain name, DNS server will give you what is the IP address of that, application that you are trying to access. Is it clear, guys? What is this, DNS?
Yes.
Right? So first it will look into the browser cache. If it is not there, means if you type some URL, right, it will search for the first, it has to figure out what is the IP address of that particular server, right? So for that, it will look into the browser cache. If it is not there, if it is there in the browser cache, it will get it from the browser cache. If it is not there, it will search in the operating system cache. If that is not there in the operating system cache also, it will search in the router cache or router cache, right? Some people pronounce it as router, right? So if it is not there in the router cache also, then it will look into the DNS cache. If it is not there in DNS cache also, then it will fire a DNS request, means it will send a request to the DNS server, Dear DNS server, like I want the IP address of this URL. Suppose you type gmail.com. I want IP address. Can you give me IP address of that gmail.com, right? So this is called, browser sends a request to the DNS server and it will get the IP address of that server, right? This is the second step. Now, once it gets the IP address, it will establish a TCP connection that is called as TCP handshake. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol, right? So this is the protocol on which your internet works. Okay, so it will, once it gets the IP address, right, it will establish a TCP connection. Here you can see the explanation. Once client has an IP address, client means browser, guys. Okay, client means browser here. Once client has an IP address, it will open a TCP connection over which it will send a HTTP request, right? It will establish a TCP connection and then it will send that HTTP request, whatever request you type in the browser, right? This HTTP request, first it will get the IP address of the server, then it will establish a TCP connection and then it will send this request. Okay. And that HTTP request will be of 4 types. One is, these are the 4 important types: get, post, put, and delete. Right? So this HTTP request can be of 4 types: get, post, put, and delete. So we'll understand, what is the difference between this get, post, put, and delete in the next session. So once it sends the request, right, then browser receives the response. Then server process that request. Your server will process that request and it will send the response to the browser. Now browser receives the response from the server and it renders the page as response. Renders the page means it will build that, response. It will, build that response and it will show you the response. So this much processing happens when you send a request from the browser, right? So, guys, no one will explain this in detail, this much detail. So, but, this is important to understand. So, what happens, when you, because you should know what is DNS system, what is IP address, right? What is a TCP connection and all this, right? So every test engineer, software test engineer should know this. Developer or test engineer should know these, all these details. These are all basics, guys, basically. Okay. So then the response, this request response cycle will be completed. This is what happens when you send a request, from the moment you send a request from the browser till you receive the response. Any queries here? Someone is asking. I will take a pause here. So someone is asking something. Any queries?
Yeah, when we open this developer tool, Kishore, down, as I asked how much time the page has been loaded, we can see, right? So the finish time is showing different time and load time is showing different time. So which is the correct page time?
The total response time is this one, finish time.
finish time. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, see here.
Because
You
just
can see,
now I
right?
just
See,
said
this
load
is
time.
more, right? See, just just it's a simple common sense, right? So the total time it is showing, see, finish time is 4.34 seconds, whereas load time and DOM content load time is in milliseconds, right? Obviously, this should be your
Yeah.
response time. Okay, if you want, like, let me clear this and do it again. Send a request. You can open a timer and see how much time it is taking, or else you can count in seconds. It took almost like 4.5 seconds, 4.25 seconds,
Yeah.
right?
If we are navigating in between the application, inside the application, how can we calculate the time?
That also
You
you can
click
see.
on,
Okay,
click
see.
on see
Suppose
offer
you go
button.
to tablets. You click on
Okay.
that, you are navigating to that page.
Yeah, that we are not
Oh,
able to
it is
see.
not showing the response time here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, it is showing only sub request and data sent and data received only.
Yeah.
You have to sum up all this. Okay, good observation. So I didn't observe this. That it doesn't show for the sub. The navigation pages. But if you want to see the response time, like you can get it from the when you use any performance test tool, so you can get that.
I guess we will be learning this, right?
Yeah. Wait. There are some more tools. Called HTTP Watch. I think that will show you that. That will give you that data. There is something called HTTP Watch. Okay, it is a browser extension. So let me try to get that. I think that will show you the response time of all the pages. I
Okay.
remember that it will show you all the pages. Okay. Let me search for Edge browser. So it will come by default in Internet Explorer. I'm not sure about Edge browser. I didn't check it any time. There is something called HTTP Watch. There. Okay, let me search for Internet Explorer. See, you have developer tools. Apart from that, there should be something called HTTP Watch. It is not there. Maybe it is not coming with the latest versions. Let me download it. You can download that HTTP Watch. Let me enlarge this. HTTP Watch. Basic edition is free. Professional edition. Yeah. So HTTP Watch installation is completed, and you can see that it got added as an extension to Edge and Chrome and IE, right? So you can see the extensions over here, guys. Okay. Suppose you open a new browser. If you want to see the extensions, right? More tools. Go to extensions. Now you can see here all the extensions. See here, HTTP Watch is added. Now let's see, like it will show you. I think this will show like. I think it will show you the individual page response times. One second, give me a second. Okay, let me enable that extension details. Okay, how to enable that extension? I used it long back, guys. Okay, please give me some time. This HTTP Watch I used it almost like 4 or 5 years back. It is enabled by default. How to launch this one? Watch. Let me stop recording. I restarted IE, right? So now you can see HTTP Watch basic add-on is ready for use and right? It is saying that it is ready for use. Click on enable. Okay, now you know it is launched now. Now suppose if you type the, like let me go to advantageonlineshopping.com. Let me see if it shows the complete response time. Here it is showing you, right? So I think this is the total response time, 8.683, almost 9 seconds, right? This is the total time loaded for this. And let's see the remaining pages. Suppose I want to see laptop space, how much time it is taking. First, let me clear this. I use this clear option. Let me clear this and click on this laptops. Yeah, here you can see, right? It is the response time for this is 3 seconds.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Issue from Monday, we have class in morning or same time?
Yeah, I will come to that. I will come to that. So who is that who asked this one? So
And actually, I need to join the office meeting, so that's why.
okay. Okay, yeah. Let me pause recording. Record one. See, it is clearly giving here. See here, it is showing elapsed time. This is nothing but your total response time. And network round trips. There are 17 network round trips. Downloaded data, uploaded data, DNS lookups. It is giving lot more details, right? There is HTTPS overhead bar request, DNS lookups, TCP connects. DNS lookup. See here. What is DNS lookup? I explained just now, guys. What is meant by DNS lookup?
Domain name system.
Domain name system.
Yeah. So what is the purpose of doing that DNS lookup?
So we resolve the domain name to the particular IP address.
IP address, right? So that is DNS lookup, right? So why the DNS lookup is 0?
Because it did not go there to look up. Maybe
Yeah,
from
previously,
browser.
yeah. Once we are on the home page, right? It should have done that, IP address, resolve the IP address. That's why next time when you click on any other page, right, it will get it from the browser cache, right? That's why you see DNS lookups as 0 here. All right. And
Yes.
what is this HTTP compression savings?
Kishore, I need to drop off. I just have call.
Yeah. Please carry on. Please carry on.
Thank you.
I will share this recorded session anyway, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. So let us understand this HTTP compression saving means when the server is sending the response, right? So it will compress the response and it will save it in a zip format. Okay. And once the browser receives the response, it will unzip and it will, it will decompress that, or it will unzip and it will show the response. So by doing that compression, it saved these many bytes, 20,000 bytes of, data transfer is saved. Okay, that's what HTTP compression savings means. Okay, guys, I'll stop it here. So we'll continue tomorrow. I'm stopping the recording.